Paperback Ramblings. I figured that's a good title for this. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and I'm just going to ramble about talking about collecting paperbacks, collecting vintage paperbacks. Been thinking about that a lot lately. I've been seeing how there's a lot of great people on YouTube that are doing videos on various aspects of collectible and vintage paperbacks, and some really good stuff. And also what's going on on eBay and other places as far as people collecting paperbacks. And there seems to have been an interesting shift. The paperbacks are becoming much more collectible, and also the ones that people collect are becoming much more scarce. Seems like when I talk to a lot of collectors, that certain key items and really special things are kind of drying up, because I think the hobby, a couple of things. One is the supply is going down on everything that's of anything, whether it's of quality or even just mediocre stuff or mediocre condition stuff. The supply is going down and the demand is going up, and that's not only in the United States, but it's in England, it's worldwide, Canada, and all over the place. So you have collectors worldwide that are interested in American vintage paperbacks, and also British, Canadian, Australian, and even European countries in Europe. It's interesting that I've been reading science fiction for a long time. And one of the books now I'm reading is In the Cube by a talented science fiction writer, David Alexander Smith. And his futuristic Boston, and this is a book that was written in 1995, so it's 30 years old already. His futuristic Boston is one inhabited with aliens and humans, and one of the interesting things about it is he talks about, in a throwaway line, of how a lot of the people, older people, collect vintage paperbacks. They collect vintage mysteries. Especially they're very hot on Dell mapbacks. Dell mapbacks are some books that are very collectible. Now the thing is, with any vintage paperback, the condition is, of course, like any other collectible, is very important. It's key. The best condition items sell for the more money. There's more demand. But if there's a lot of items that are in, I guess you say, average or good, very good condition, kind of moderate condition, and those are the ones that most of us collect and most of us find, because we really don't come across mint books that often, once in a while, unless they're new when you buy them. But when you're talking about books that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, you're not going to find usually anything that's mint or approaching that. So you'll find a lot of kind of moderate condition books. You'll also find a lot of poor condition books. The thing is that there's demand for even poor condition books, because certain books just never show up at all, or certain books are very expensive, and if you find a book that's complete and it's in decent shape, maybe poor condition or whatever, maybe a good or a good plus, then you'll see that there'll be a certain demand for that, because there are collectors that just want the book. They don't care about the condition that much, or they figure, I get a lower condition book for $5 or $10 or $20 rather than spend $100 or whatever it is, might be. Like I said, I mentioned the Dell mapback books. That's just one out of probably hundreds of categories of books, paperbacks, that are collectible. I mean, books that are collectible really now are horror genre books, are very popular. Movie and TV tie-in books are very popular. You see some of the prices some of these go for on eBay and stuff. If they're in really nice condition, and if they're really books of paperback originals that that are rarely seen. So collectors really are looking for these in that kind of condition. There's so much stuff. A lot of British and American science fiction from the 70s, 80s, and 90s is very collectible now. It's beginning to be collectible, and people just want it because this is the stuff that they read when they were younger and that they enjoyed. Also, there's a lot of vintage, what you call the really vintage paperbacks, are from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. That's the older material, which is very hard to find, usually in large amounts. You see them at paperback shows, and those are the books that you see in a VG condition for $20 or $30, or $75 or $50, $75 or $100 in fine copies or more. The prices on all of this material, including rare Canadian and Australian paperbacks and British paperbacks, are becoming very, more and more collectible. They've always been collectible, but I think it's just increasing because as people see what the internet has showed, and also the books. There's a lot of books that show the books that are available from different publishers and authors. In my magazine, Paperback Parade is one of them, but also all these books that have come out in the last, say, 15 or 20 years, where they show color illustrations of various types of vintage and collectible paperbacks. So there's all of that, and then there's all the stuff shown on eBay, so that worldwide people are seeing these books that they've never seen before, that they never even knew existed. And even from my videos and other people's videos, some of the people that I do videos on all types of collectible vintage paperbacks, and people can see books that they've never seen before, that they didn't know existed. But also there's other people, and there's a few people I'd like to promote here, and kind of say like thank you to them for their YouTube videos. And one of them is Kenny Howe. He's a British, pretty much of a science fiction collector, and he does great videos on YouTube. If you're interested in classic science fiction, American and British paperbacks, so that he's a go-to guy there. Michael Vaughan does a lot of videos on just basically everything that people would like to read. He's much more, not so much in the collecting area as in the reading area. He does a lot of great videos on Robert E. Howard and Edgar Rice Burroughs and all kinds of great people you want to read. There's Jules Burt, who does a lot of videos. I've been following him for like 4 or 5 years. He does terrific videos on all aspects of all kinds of collecting, but specifically more focusing on vintage paperbacks now. He's a expert on Pan books and on Penguin books, which is interesting to find information on these books that he knows very well on, and then other things too. And I also enjoy his videos because he does something that I like and that I appreciate. He has a care for books in his videos. He cares for books. He loves books, obviously. He cleans the books. He does the whole thing where he cleans the top edges of the books, which always get dust on them from being on a shelf for years. He does little repair work on the books and the spines and different things. And I like seeing that because I like to see that people care for their books and that they fix them when there's damage done to them. I like Phil Harbottle is a fellow who I know for many years in England also, who does great videos on so-called mushroom publisher and vintage science fiction and other topics too, but also mostly science fiction. E.C. Tubb, John Russell Fearn, all of the scarce, rare British paperbacks from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and sometimes the 60s, but concentrates more on the 40s and 50s. I mean, he is a fountain of knowledge, and in science fiction and in that vintage area, just amazing stuff that you never see. And it's amazing that his collection, that he has this material and that he shares it with people on YouTube, so that it's being documented. I mean, and the thing that's good too is that all of the people I mentioned, we're all documenting the books that not only that we grew up with and that we love and that we read, but documenting the books of our culture. This is our culture, and it's worldwide. It's beloved by people. Doesn't matter what country you're from, what country you live in. People love these books, and they're special. They're of a time, and they're never going to be, seen again. And the thing is that a lot of them are going away, because some of them, they go into collections and you never see them, and then eventually, sometimes when a collector passes away, they go on the market and then they're scooped up and they're gone. But a lot of them just go because the books are old. They're read to death, and they just fall apart and they're destroyed. Or what I noticed happened in a situation that we had here in Hurricane Sandy in 2012? Yeah, where myself and I lost thousands of books from a flood in the basement. But I know a lot of people that collected other things, other books, that are gone. I know a fellow who had a pulp magazine collection, and all of them were ruined and destroyed because of the flood in his house and in his basement in New Jersey. So again, that comes into supply and demand. The supply is, again, being whittled down through different aspects, situations, and the demand is growing because people see these books and they wonder about them, because the books that are published now have a very different aspect and appearance to them as those books. Those books had more action-oriented pulp covers. The stories were different. They were more exciting. They were the classics of our era, of the 20th century, and they're important. They're important books, and they have stood the test of time, I think, and they're showing that they're standing the test of time, and they're becoming more and more collectible as time goes on. Let me see if I missed anybody. Outlaw Bookseller is another great YouTuber. There's a lot of others that are doing great. Have I missed anybody?
You're asking me?
Yeah. I figured there's a
we'll
whole
put
bunch.
them in the description.
Yeah, there's so many but I just wanted to just talk about what I see in the books that are the more and more paperbacks are becoming a thing that's more and more collectible. Philip K. Dick, in one of his, I'm not sure if it was The Man in the High Castle or if it was in Blade Runner, talks about people collecting paperbacks. This was in 1975 when he wrote this about one of those science fiction novels. I can't remember which one, and he talks about people collecting paperbacks, people collecting science fiction paperbacks. It was a big thing in that book. Just a throwaway line again, like the Del Matback's thing, throwaway line, which I mentioned in the Cube, down in the Smith book, and it's many times, many other places. It's I've seen that. It's funny that I recall reading in a early 1950s science fiction digest magazine, where a young, I believe it was a young science fiction fan and wannabe author before he became really an author, Robert Silverberg, wrote a letter talking about the 1950 Hillman paperback edition of Jack Vance's The Dying Earth, and saying that how at that time in 1950, when that paperback had been published, that it was already a collectible book in science fiction circles. Okay, today it's become like one of the key science fiction great sword and sorcery fantasy books. Jack Vance's first book is a classic, and so even back then there was always the knowledge that the paperbacks were collectible, were going to be collectible, and there's going to be a demand more and more for them, and that people enjoy them. The thing is, the format is compact. It's easy to have to store them, unless you have too many of them, like I do, and some people do. The cover art on the books is just incredible, and it's interesting to see a classic novel over many years from different publishers in different countries, to see the artwork, the different artwork that appears on these books. Say like the Jack Vance's The Dying Earth, there's so many different American editions, but then there's British editions and European editions of it, all with different kind of cover art. All of it's like magnificent. And that's just one author, one book. That same thing is replicated over thousands of authors, over thousands of books. And it's just that is a joy to behold from collectors, to see that, to see the different cover art, and to enjoy it, and to look at it as something special. A different interpretation by each different artist of that unique particular book. And that's why in some ways paperbacks are also so special. They're also an easy way for a person, a fan, a reader, or a collector to amass their own personal library of books that they like. Whatever genre it is, it doesn't matter. Western, science fiction, hard-boiled crime, private eye, doesn't matter. Paperbacks, even today, at the prices that some of them are going for, ridiculous prices, there's still a way that an average person with moderate means of disposal of cash, especially in this economy where things are, everybody's, has to be careful about spending money, and you can still, as a collector, as a fan, as a lover of books, buy books that you can own, that you can read, collect, and cherish. And I think that's really important too. So I just wanted to, this is just, I'm just rambling. I don't know what you guys think about any of this. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up, and I hope you'll, if you have any questions, I'd like to see what you have to say about it, what your thoughts are, and now I'm not going to ramble anymore. So see you next time. I'll come back with a book haul, so that'll be good.